Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, that's better, but it's still not very good. Okay, I come from an industry in this platform, custom-centered city world, where I am not allowed to talk to the customer. Let's see how in pharmaceutical industry we drive our customer culture. I would start my presentation with a famous quote by Peter Drucker. He says, the company's primary responsibility is to serve its customer. Profit is not the primary goal, but is an essential condition for the company's existence. Let's see. Customer. Everybody talks about customer. We have many adjectives to the customer. Customer is king. Customer is God. Customer is everything for me. Here, if you see all the customer, we want them to make happy and everybody is smiling. But in our world, in pharmaceutical world, who is the customer? We need to understand. There are different companies, they take different stance on the customers. Some companies says, scientist is my customer because he innovates the drug. Some company says, my sales rep is my customer. Some company says, my doctor is my customer. And likewise. But in pharmaceutical world, customer is huge. Mainly, if we see, anybody can live without lipstick. Anybody can live without a bike. Anybody can live without a bank account or even without insurance. Any industry we talk about. But no one can live without the medicine. Pharmaceutical industry has such a huge presence in the human being. So our customers are basically everybody. I think sitting in this hall, everybody is taking one or the other medicine. And if he has not taken, he will take in future. Okay. We talk about the industries, few examples I have given: FMCG, retail, internet service providers, telecom, banking, insurance, automotive. All these industries, they develop the product. They develop the product, they keep on evolving their products. Then they promote it and say that this is the best product for you, use it. But in pharmaceutical industry, no medicine has been innovated until the disease came. First disease comes, people suffer from that or die of that, and then people go for innovation. So this is purely consumer to business. Consumer need, and then the innovation, then the product, and then we go for the business. And in that way, pharmaceutical industries is entirely different. In many ways, we cannot talk to our customer, the patient. We are not allowed to do so. Even if we have many faces of the customers, I will show you. One of the reasons this industry has been a product-centric, not the customer-centric, just because product comes after the need is there. Then you don't have any choice. In this industry, mainly customer always has a choice, the payer. In this industry, customer doesn't have a choice. If you are sick, you have to go to a doctor, you get the medicine, you pay for that. You don't have a choice that I will not buy this medicine, I will buy something else. And that is why this industry for long time has been product-centric. Now, with the different marketing dynamics, many companies coming in the market, patent going off. Now in India, if I see the scenario, more than 10,000 companies are operating. Over 98% of the products are same, with no product differentiation. Now the time comes when you have a competition, then you have to care for your customer. And how do you take your customer? Sorry. It's not working. Sorry. It's a problem? Something. Go back. Just go back. It's not working. Go back. Just go back. One more. Yeah. Okay. So in this industry, I would just like to tell you that how we approach our customers. There's a chain, pharma industry. Then you have a pharma sales rep. Then you have a doctors who are the decision maker. And then you have a channel partners, starting from distributor to stockist to retail pharmacies. And then you have the end customer, who is the patient, you and me. Here, strict guidelines is there. As pharma company, I cannot talk to the patient. That's the restriction we have. So then big question is that how do we reach to the customer? Pharmaceutical industry depends on the decision maker, that is doctor. And between pharma industry and doctors as well, if you see, there are many restrictions. MCI guidelines, regulatory, our own compliance, what you can talk, what you cannot talk, what you can give, how can you lure your customer, how can you not. So all those restrictions would be there even while talking to your decision maker, who is actually not your end customer. End customer is the patient. Then what we do? Look, I'll give you an example before I go to the sales team. My first day as medical representative way back in 1984. I joined a company as a medical representative. Then I went to the retailer and I asked for the order. Can you give me order of I have these kind of products. He asked me a question. That was my first day, hardly 10 days training, and I was in the market. He asked me, what is the deal on this product? Deal was a little technical term in pharma industry, means how much you buy and how much you get free. I could not understand. What is the deal? That word. Those days, I didn't have a bike. My distributor was around 6 kilometers away from that shop. I said, okay, let me come back to you. I'll come back to you. I took my bag off, went to the distributor by bus, asked him, then he said if he buys 25 bottles of this, he gets one free. That is the deal. I came back to that guy again. I told him, look, this is what is the offer. That guy just asked me, what did you do? I said, I went to those days, mobile was not there. Even the PCOs were not that much in 84, 85. So he said, you went to the distributor and came back again? I said, what option I had? I had to inform you. Oh, then he gave me lots of orders. That was the customer centricity I could learn without any training that time. Okay, so process start with the sales team, and when we design that, I think it's not coming. There's some issue. This presentation is not. No. The contents is missing. Okay, I'll talk without content as well, no problem. To do the sales rep, what we do? Preparing sales reps as a customer-centric person. I'll give you one more example. How I learned that. After 2 or 3 years, I was working in a very remote place. I went to a doctor. Doctor saw me. I was working in a company called Albert David. He just saw me, and he was treating a patient. Patient was on the verge of dying. And we had a product, Mannitol, which was in acute shortages. He saw me, he jumped out, came to me, can you arrange a Mannitol for my patient? I said, okay, let me see. I went to the preferred dealer. I knew that fellow will always have. keeping that in some corner, black, making it something nonsense with that. I took one bottle, gave it to that doctor. That doctor I was visiting for 6 months, the doctor was not giving me anything. That particular day, when I served that bottle to him, from that day, he became my biggest customer. He started writing for me. So that kind of customer centricity we learned from our experience. And that is how we kept on applying. So in preparing sales stuff, a customer-centric, those kind of approach, what we learned in the field, we try to equip our sales reps. Our sales rep, we give them classroom training. We do their skill development. We have first line, second line managers for them, on the job coaching. The basic of all those things, how do we train them that they become customer centric, they serve the customer. For sales rep, doctor is the first customer. And then we prepare them well because they are the face of the, no, it's not. They are the face of the customer. Face of the company, I'm sorry. And when they serve the customer better, they get better response from the doctors. So sales rep, is there any problem? Still? Okay. So sales rep we prepare like that. Then we come to the doctor. How do we serve them? I told you there are several restrictions in between. We cannot do what we want with our customer. We have a restrictive way of promotion to the doctor. We go by our compliance system, we go by our own regulatory system, we have code of conduct, and then we communicate our brand. And then you also have to understand how do we get a prescription from a doctor when 300 similar brands are available with no differentiation. The thing comes in place. What is the service you provide to the customer? The relationship for which we train our sales rep, and the trust and quality which you enjoy because of your ethics and everything. Okay, so to doctors, the most important thing, believe me, in sales of pharma, 30 years back, the most important tool for getting sales in pharma industry was medical representative when I was medical representative. Today also, it's the same. Most important, I will say, the importance has come down little bit because of technology, but not more than 10%. The way we used to function 30 years back, currently if I see, there are changes with the technologies, but still the 90% things come from the sales rep. So we need to have a very, very good sales rep. We need to train them properly, and then only we can get our business. At doctor level, sales calls, I said, the most important thing. Then we have CMEs, continued medical educations, that we sponsor for the doctor, that we are allowed to do that. In that, what we do, we try to update them with the latest innovations, latest techniques, latest whatever is coming, new update in the pharma industry, we try to update them through that. Then webinars, we try to have a specialist talking on the web, and then it goes to entire country through our web portals. These are the small, small things through which we try to give them more service. Still not working? I will not remember all. It's difficult for me. Okay. So at doctor level, we do that. Then we also try detection camps. Basically, if you see, if you go a doctor, sometimes you see a board, a diabetes-free camp, thyroid-free checks. All those things, as pharma industry, we sponsor, we try to give it to the patient. Therefore, we try to reach to our patient, try to serve our patient who are our end customer. Basically, people think that we are doing charity. It's not the charity, believe me. It also has business impact. Why? How it has a business impact? Believe me, how many women sitting here? Maybe 20, 30? Go and get your anemia checked. Maybe 30, 40% of you are anemic. You are not aware of that. How it will work? Anyway, I don't know where I have reached to. It will come like this only? Okay. Sales rep, I just missed whatever we try to tell them, we incentivize them to behave properly with the customer. Okay? Then I was talking of diagnostic intervention. What we normally do, we try to offer these free camps and everything. One way we are serving the human beings, being detected early, treated early. The other way, the business impact is that you are not anemic right now, but if you are detected, you will take some medicine. And that's the business impact we get. Thyroid camps. Believe me, many people suffering from thyroid do not come to know maybe after 10 years or 12 years because it does not give any symptoms. They are hypothyroid patient and they are not aware of that. One of the example is my wife itself. She could be detected when she was on the bed. I was a medical person, but still, MD doctor was seeing him, she could not do. So that is what we do. Then we also do cause-related marketing. We try to support patients with the awareness programs. We also try to tell them what to do, what not to do in certain conditions. Then we also try to do some caregivers programs. Like I'll give you one example which we did it just now. We basically created a campaign called Mother Against Diarrhea. We took the help of the pediatricians. Mothers were trained. They talked in 19 different languages. Our people go to the pediatrician clinic and they show it to the mother what to do, what not to do. So that is how we try to reach to the end customer. Then we also offer the paramedic support kind of thing, educational and training, how you manage your patient better, how you manage your clinics better, those all the things, we do that. Why we do all those things? Two things, one the enhanced number of patients, inflow of the patient to the doctors, and in turn, better relation with that customer. And that is how we deal with that. Then we also try to support the end customer, like, for example, high-cost medicine, innovators medicine, especially in the case of cancer. If a person is suffering from cancer, I don't know anybody in the family, nobody should be actually, but it costs too much. One patient, 5 lakhs a month, 6 lakhs a month. Then in India, we know, especially in developing country or poor countries, we as an organization, we try that it should be subsidized to the patient. Maybe he is taking 6 vials, 2 or 3 vials, we try to give them free. So that he is on the therapy continuously and gets that medicine. We offer free side effect kit. That is the service we try to go to the end customer, and that is what we are allowed to do so. Then we also arrange, in certain cases, loans from the bank. Bank is also here. Sometimes company shares some interest rate and patient shares some. So that kind of service also we try to offer to the patient. And then definitely free counseling through the experts, all those things we try to do to help the patients. Digital initiatives. Here comes little bit of technology. We create a dedicated web portals. I'll give an example. In Merck, we have done it. We are the #1 in IVF technology. I don't know whether you are aware of that. People in India, it's not in Bombay, but if you go a little far off, after marrying 3 years, if they don't have a child, it's a pain. They have a problem in the family. If they don't have a child, they don't talk also to anybody, fearing that who is at fault, lady or the gents. So we created a web portal, Break the Silence. Go to the web portal, get the advice, and then go to the right customer, right doctors, and get your child, if it is possible, to the medical science. So those kind of help we try to do. We try to give the public relation initiative through for SCPs. Patient awareness, mass media campaigns we do, but we normally talk only disease. We only direct patients to the physician. We don't tell, like in any company, you say that Maggi is better or Patanjali atta noodle is better. I can't say that. I can only say that this is the disease, this is the symptoms you have, and this is what is you can do through your physician or doctor. Okay, so these are the things we do for the patients. Again, in clinics, we try to do all those things, partnering with paramedics and support staff, communicating the similar message through social media, all those things we do. Try to reach our end customer, who is the patient. And managing little bit of channel partners, because if your product is prescribed, it needs to be available at the retail pharmacy. Then we have CFA, distributors, stockists. There also, our entire distribution network works. Definitely through our sales rep, area manager, zonal manager, we manage that. And ultimate goal for the pharma industry, I will tell, but this is how slowly and gradually I will say. In this forum, we are talking only customer centricity. But this business, pharma business, had been product centric for quite long time. Now moving little bit towards customer centric, and the way and means which are available with the restrictive module in which we operate, we are trying to be customer centric. We are trying to service doctors. We are trying to reach to the patient. And we are trying to do something for which our all wish is that healthy and happy human being and smiling this customer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Piyush Kant. Questions, please? Sure.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kant.
Yeah.
My question to you is, with the sphere of prescriptions now moving away from prescription drugs to biosimilars.
Yeah.
If you see, the latest trends is biosimilars, which is the main trend. So what do you feel is the trend as far as customer centricity is concerned with biosimilars?
Look,
Shinabi.
yeah. Look, biosimilar trend is definitely good for the patient. It's basically customer oriented, because if you go for the patented drug, which would be at least 2 times costlier, biosimilar will be. But you know the word law, patent law. Indian government is fighting. Sometimes they are giving necessary licenses. Sometimes they are not able to do. But biosimilar is definitely a good thing for developing countries and poor countries. So it's very, very customer centric. Am I answered?
Hello.
Yeah.
I have a few questions on this.
Yeah.
You have said that there is a customer and consumer, the 2 things in the pharmaceutical. Basically, when a patient is buying, he's consuming the product.
Correct.
So patients are consumer, not your customer at all. That is number 1.
Yeah, okay.
Doctor is a customer for you, definitely. And in fact, this is the one link where we see there's a customer and a consumer, and decision maker is different, that is doctor. And that is why when first lecture came that there should be a platform to have what we call database where directly you have a consumer. Now this case, there are 2 things. One is customer and consumer.
Okay.
Now this is, 1 minute, this is the unique example where product centricity is being used for years together.
Correct.
For years together, because I got very few customers. One doctor to whom I go and get my business, he's writing my 1 product, I see I will write my 2nd product, I will write my 3rd product. So this particular case, pharmaceutical industry is an excellent example of product centricity. Now today, the major objective of attending this particular lecture is to find out when such link is there, that customer and consumer, what sort of a data I can collect and go to my consumers also, thereby I will increase my product concentrity at a doctor level. I think many things are missing because probably what your lecture has explained is a sales promotion in total, what exactly has been done.
Yeah.
Very nicely done, that's not a problem. But our basic topic, even in previous question was also same, that product centricity is one customer using one product, how do I increase to 5 products?
Okay.
And one of the most important tool, what we can use and how we can link this customer and consumer is my query.
My?
Query, the question in this, the sales process is different.
Yeah.
Like, for consumer product, I go directly to consumer. Here I am not going. I have to go through customer, as you said it repeatedly. Now, if this is the case, Sangeet, Sangeet, I think, first lecture who was delivered, how I can develop a platform for such a situation? Directly consumer, I do platform, fine. Now I have something in between, speed breaker. How do I do a platform for such a marketing, which is exclusively centricity example? I hope I'm clear in my question.
Look, in pharma world, as you rightly said, this is a good question. Rightly said, there is a medium, doctor, the decision maker, and the end customer or end consumer. If I talk of customer or consumer, whoever pays finally is the your payer. What exactly we are doing in this restrictive module of business? We are doing it. What else you want to do with that? What is missing according to you?
No, in fact, I wanted to ask Sangam this question in the morning.
Okay.
That you have an, what you call, Sangeet, I'm sorry, Sangeet. That you have an platform development for the seller to consumer directly.
Correct.
Now, this case, particular case which you are talking, is an excellent case of product centricity.
Correct. That's true.
In this product centricity case, when we want to develop a platform and there is a speed breaker of a doctor, what can be done? If you could come out with this, I think sessions could definitely be beneficial.
I agree with you. There are restrictions of the government. There are laws which does not permit that platform between end consumer or end doctor.
No, that's
and pharmaceutical companies are
no,
not
sir,
allowed.
that's okay. We are talking of data, utilizing the data.
I'm sorry to tell you, even the patient data are not allowed. I'm sorry to say. Patient data we cannot collect from a doctor. We can collect the only sales data. There are agencies called IMS, ORG. They give the sales data, but patient data is also highly.
But you will agree one thing. You have a customer
Hello,
doctor.
excuse me, can I interfere and answer your question?
Oh, fine. My question is.
Yeah, I understood your question. I can just
That's
reply
fine.
you.
If it is okay for you, I don't
Yeah.
want to debate on
Please,
this.
please.
Mr. Kant, I'll just elaborate on his question. The answer is a pharmaceutical is regulated by Ministry of Health and Food and Drug Boards. And when you are talking about customer centric, that is going to take a longer time. Means we have there are so many what you say generic signed patented products, and most of the generic products where the prices vary from different companies to companies. Now, if we bring to the customer that why he has to buy a particular product based on the results to him, that is like bioequivalence studies or clinical studies which can prove that company X product is efficacious and gives the better results at a better price. The effective treatment to the patient is better as compared to the others. If we prove at a platform, it is possible to make it a customer-centric business. But it is going to take time, like when the computers came in the 80s, 90s, there was a lot of resistance because people were afraid we'll lose the jobs. Similarly, in pharmaceuticals, what is more worrying about is there are regulations which are controlled by Food and Drug Health Ministry because they are concerned about the health of the whole nation. But in the meantime, they are also looking at offering the products to the customer at a better price and at a effective way. But that is, I think, will take a little time to switch over to the customer-centric business, particularly when it comes to the generics. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
This side, hi. On your left, I guess.
Yeah.
So I have a generic question. This is pertaining to the pharmaceutical industry, and I've seen this shift, from doctors being emotionally attached to an organization because of innovation or personal experience. Now they have become very subjective and task-oriented. And the challenge then remains is how do you ensure that even if you make an investment, you get your ROI. And so I had digital function for Wockhardt, and additional point that I actually wanted to ask 2 questions, but I understand we are short of time.
Yeah.
So most of our, end customer, as we've been talking about as patients, they sit out of rural or suburban areas where they don't have reach or, don't have digital intelligence. So how do we reach out to them?
Look, you know that India geography. I'll give you one example, which he also talked. There are different companies operating in different modules. You would have heard of Mankind. Mankind is serving to the rural populations. Similarly, we also came with one initiative which we call Swasthya Yatra, through which we try to reach to the extra rural places with the audio-video modules, and we try to train the SCPs of those rural area. Infrastructure-wise, it's difficult and it will take time to go to this. Look, if you go little bit far off in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar, even your mobile network doesn't come. Leave apart this internet and all that. So that's the infrastructure problem we cannot help. The only thing we can increase our reach through different ways and means. Like Mankind started a rural model. We at Merck also, we started Swasthya Yatra in UP and Bihar. In that, we tried to touch millions of patients through HCPs. That van goes with audiovisual equipments that gives the training to the SCPs who are not very, very qualified, but still the village people don't have any option but to go to them only. So we try to train them, and that is how we are trying to reach to those people. But infrastructure is not in hand of the pharmaceutical industry. It's difficult for the pharmaceutical industry to digitalize entire India.
Thank you so much. I would just like to make one comment to the last question that was asked by the gentleman. So he said that, sir, this is for you. You said that doctors are speed breakers. We're talking about customer centricity, and pharmaceutical industry will never be able to evolve unless we understand that doctors have to become partner for any digital or non-digital project that we take up. So I think that mind shift has to, start, because they are our link to the end customer. Thank you.
Look, I will just add to that. Our presentation in between went off. I tried to tell that webinar. Webinar is what? Basically a specialist talking to the distant people. So we were trying to bridge that gap, but with the limited resource, with the limited infrastructure, and whatever is available to us, that is what we are trying to do. And I'm not talking of Merck, I'm talking of pharma industry. Yeah, please.
Sir,
Please, sir.
I have a small question for you.
Yes.
Doctors are your customers, not the consumers. Now, you tempt the doctors to write those medicines some way or the other. You don't arrange training programs for the doctors to train them or learn as to the impact of the medicine or otherwise. So what the pharmaceutical industry, which I have known, does it tempt the doctors by some way or the other to write that medicine. What effect it will have on the consumer? Well, God only knows. Can you explain this?
I a little disagree, sir, with the content of the question. First thing I will tell, let me explain a little bit. It's an important question, very, very good question, because this is always in the mind of the patient. That believe me, there are companies, including Merck. We have an academy especially for IVF I talked of, most of the gynecologists, we train them what to do in that condition and how do they take their patients and how do they deal with their patient and how do they go for embryo and all those things. So we have an academy, we try to train them. Then we have CME programs, which I talked a little bit about that, continued medical education program, through which even the international speakers we call in India, who are the master of the subject, and then we call doctors to attend those programs and get that knowledge disseminated. Even those doctors who attend those programs, they also go and train to the GPs of that. So it's not that we don't do that education program. It's not by hook or crook we try to take prescription of the doctor. It's because of trust, it's because of sales, the sales service, it's because of the product and the reports. We have several, no doctor, look, for doctor, patient is his customer. Doctor cannot write a product which doesn't give benefit to the patient. For convincing that doctor, you have medical journals, you have many books which are available on the net. Nowadays, even patients are smarter. If doctor prescribes a drug, they go to net. Google is a great example, and whether his drug will work or not. So it's not that we don't do that. We do that to the best possible extent. I hope.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Amit Chakrapani from CRM Asia.
Can we
don't
have
any
the hand,
question, but
please?
I have
Yeah.
a suggestion actually.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion actually. Customer centricity, CX and CRM, it is a concept, and it is concept which is customized industry to industry.
Yeah.
When we are talking about pharma, pharma is a very, very restrictive industry, and it is connected to the health of the people, health of the general persons, and we need to have certain things which I just want to suggest two, three points. One, that rather than talking about the customer centricity in pharma, we talk about how can we serve them better. We cannot develop a mechanism or an ecosystem just to convince the customer that the pharma is doing this, pharma industry is doing for you, but they need to focus on quality medicine. They need to focus on stopping the adulteration. They need to focus upon the timely delivery of the medicine at the hospitals or the places where it is required. They also need to talk to the doctors, hospitals, where the most dissatisfaction comes on. Because the patient, he is very emotional, he is with a lot of trouble, he is in tension. If somehow pharma company or pharma industry, they evolve an ecosystem that there is a platform, as Sangeet has already talked about the platform. If a platform is developed to release their stress, to give them a quality medicine, to give them a quality treatment, where they feel that they are not cheated, because the most dissatisfaction comes that the patient in the last, he realizes and feels that he has been cheated. So that level of service, that level of transparency and ethics, if the pharma industry is able to maintain in this medicine field, that would be probably the most contributing part you can do for customer.
Yes, absolutely. I fully agree with you that kind of culture we need to evolve. We also need to understand, look, I am working for Merck, there are 500, 600 companies, and then we go in Indian atmosphere, it's a liberal atmosphere for pharmaceutical industry. There are more than 10,000 companies operates, and they are not united as well. So there are companies, they have ethics, code, compliance, everything. And then you have other companies as well. There, the role of government has to come into the picture, as pharmaceutical industry or OPPI or IDMA cannot regulate more than 8,000 companies which are operating from the smaller places. So that's the restrictive atmosphere we have. Definitely, this pharma company has to approach to the government, and government has to put some restriction, then only things can happen the way you want it to happen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kant. Can we have this thing in a moment, please? Yep, thanks a lot. I would like to invite Mr. Jeetu Umapati, Senior Vice President, Hansas Equity, to present a small token to Mr. Kant, please.